Hi everyone, I'm Debbie Kilday from the National Beat Poetry Foundation, and today I'm celebrating a few poets that are being awarded Beat Poet Laureateships. And right now I have James Paul Wagner. He's from Long Island, New York. And he is being named the U.S. Beat Poet Laureate this year. And I'm very happy to honor him with that award today. James?
Hey everybody, how's it going?
So, James, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's James. That's the first thing you probably want to know. Like she said, I'm from Long Island, New York. I'm the publisher for Local Gems Press, which is also the official publisher of the National Beat Poetry Foundation. We publish the anthology every year for the National Beat Poetry Festival. Local Gems has been around since 2010. We do anthologies and book launches up and down the East Coast. And I've edited, I've actually lost count, but something in the range of 70 anthologies. So, and I'm very excited to be here in person at the Beat Festival this year, even in its you know, slightly less than normal capacity and / virtual capacity. But very happy to be here. So.
Karen's backyard. We're in Karen's backyard at the B&B, where most of the poets stay each year. Mm-hmm. This year it's a little different. We are in a pandemic. But anyway, so let's see. You will probably be seeing this later on. I know you all wanted to see it live, but we weren't able to do that today. So we'll be seeing you soon anyway. Thanks. Hello? Hello? Where's this? Bags? Forget it. We'll hear each other. We're here today honoring James Paul Wagner at the National Beat Poetry Festival. He's being named the U.S. National Beat Poet Laureate. James, I'd like to present this award to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the National Beat Poetry Foundation, and thank you to all the other laureates who are being named today, yesterday, tomorrow, or whenever the virtual world allows. That's all I gotta say, and I'll read now if you want me to. Okay, so this poem is actually in a, this isn't a poetry thing, this is actually a bunch of essays about autism called This Is Autism, and this is a poem that I have in the essay that I wrote for that. Because basically my essay on this was all about, you know, growing up with autism overtly versus covertly, because, you know, I'm, you know, on the spectrum myself, but it's covert. I had a friend who was very obvious he was on the spectrum, and his whole life was different because it was obvious, so that's what this poem's about. This is only the second time I've read this poem in the last, like, 6 years, so it might be a little rusty, but called His Disability. His disability was your excuse. His disability was why you did everything for him. After his father left, woke him up, made his bed, breakfast, lunch, dinner, did his laundry, ironed his clothes, cleaned, scrubbed, took a second job so he wouldn't have to work one, even though he's 24 and you're 65. But he can't work, right? He can't clean, he can't do his laundry, he can't cook. He's autistic. What do you expect? What do I expect? I don't expect anything, but I remember. I remember him in the marching band, playing that trombone with more enthusiasm than more than half of his fellow musicians. I remember his dramatic readings in English class, iambic pentameter flowing out of his mouth as naturally as each breath. I remember in history, he never forgot a date, could name all the presidents backwards. In science class, they may not have let him handle the chemicals anymore after that rather unfortunate incident with the eyebrows, but he had the entire periodic table memorized. Jim. When he got a hold of that football, everyone, myself included, parted like the Red Sea for Moses. Nobody wanted to mess with that. We all stood out of the way of that charge. I remember his room, spotless. I remember him cleaning, taking the garbage. I remember him making his own dinner. I remember him being social, as best as he could. I remember early in 8th grade when he did something wrong, you'd punish him. I remember later on in 8th grade, the punishment stopped. I remember in the middle of 8th grade when he would hum to himself and twiddle his fingers nonstop and not realize when the other kids were making fun of him for it. I remember that they, the teachers, couldn't handle that he couldn't sit down for the entire period. I remember that they were clueless concerning him, and when it came time for a convenient classification, a consistently competent yet callous teacher aide uttered the possibility, maybe he's on the spectrum. His disability, you say, you proclaim. Was his disability the reason he could calculate faster and in higher denominations than our TI 83s? Was his disability what put him on the honor roll? Was his disability what got him more scholarships to more colleges than our graduating class's valedictorian? Free tuition, free dorm room, meal plan, books, all bought and paid for in a package fit for a king before he set foot there, only so you could tell him, it's okay. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. You can drop out. So he did. His disability. So now he sits in his room all day long and you make his bed, breakfast, lunch, dinner, wash his clothes, clean the bathroom after him, while he does nothing. Gaining fat, gaining weight, on the computer, video games 24/7, no friends to speak of, no responsibility, productivity, life to call his own. What happens to him when you're gone? Now that you've taken off his gloves, taken him out of the ring, his muscles have atrophied, no longer able to go 10 rounds with life. Will he relearn all that you made him forget? Or will it be KO in round 1? I don't know. But don't talk to me about his disability, because I remember what I didn't stop him from doing. His disability, you exclaim. His disability. Disability defined at what gives one a disadvantage. His disability is you. So,
hey, let the crowd cheer for a little while for the video.
Yes, there's people here. Loud people. So, this next one is the title poem from my collection, Everyday Alchemy. I've read this poem a lot, and I'm kind of sick of it, but other people seem to like it, so hopefully you will.
We don't remember anything, so.
Oh, that's good. Yay for short-term memory loss. Everyday alchemy. Alchemy. Noun. The medieval forerunner of chemistry based on the supposed transformation of matter. It was concerned particularly with attempts to convert base metals into gold or to find a universal elixir. To turn lead into gold. A power that countless have sought throughout the ages. Many of the smartest minds in history had tried their hand at this craft, yet hundreds of years of research and the conclusions of modern chemistry have taught us that this science is a pseudoscience. Alchemy doesn't exist. But yet, my mind and eyes have never fully received that memo, because I see alchemy every day. I see it in my cup of coffee, when I think of the change that these beans go through with a little hot water. I see it in the kitchen, with every amazing meal cooked. I see it in the morning paper, a mere combination of ink and parchment that now conveys untold information through abstract lettering that we can actually understand. I see alchemy performed masterfully through the kids at the lemonade stand, taking literally the life gives you lemons quotes and turning it into pocket money to buy things that will enhance their summer vacations, creating experiences and fun times that they will cherish forever. I see alchemy in the classroom, where the teachers turn books and lessons into knowledge. I see it in the roads that we take, that have cut our long journeys down from days or weeks to minutes or hours. I see it in the inventor, the business owner, the repairman, the plumber, the carpenter. I hear it in the music. I see it on the stage and the television screens. I look at it in the art gallery and the museum. I see alchemy, the concept of turning something of little worth into something of great worth in almost everything I see around me when I really look. Perhaps the scientists and historians who have declared alchemy a dead art have just gotten so used to the magic, so desensitized to the transmutations we perform on a daily basis, that they forgot to look a little bit deeper and appreciate everyday alchemy. Live people noise. Now, the challenge is to find one in here that I'm not sick of. Or,
Yeah,
that I'm not sick of. Okay.
think of it, we've never heard any of them.
Okay, well, that's not true. I know you've heard some of these. But...
Think that we don't remember.
Alternative.
All right,
We're not sick of.
I'll do a funny one.
Okay.
Not like you, that doesn't take one.
I know, right? I'm I'm so depressive, and also I get nervous speaking in front of people. Okay. Ice cream cone. Ice cream comes in a cup. Always has, always will. That's what the people thought at the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair on the hot day when they moved past the hot waffles to get that nice, cool ice cream, only 5 cents a piece. Flying, flying, until they couldn't fly anymore. Ran out of those cups that the ice cream had always come in and always would. Yet gallons and gallons of the fresh, cool treat remained with many waiting customers. A calamity in the making. Until one brave vendor looked at a waffle as no waffle had been looked at before, rolled it up into a cone, and placed a beautiful scoop of ice cream on top. And with this business merger between ice cream and waffle stand, our world changed forever.
Smiling faces over here, please.
I'm introducing Virginia Shreve today. She is being named the Connecticut Beat Poet Laureate by the National Beat Poetry Foundation. And I want to present that to you, Virginia.
Thank you. I feel very honored to be in this company. Thank you so much, Debbie.
You're welcome.
Yay! Hi, thank you very much. The first poem that I will read is called I Decide Not to Get a Tattoo. What if I wanted to, say, rob a bank, or flee custody, or mob enforcers, bill collectors, Jehovah's Witnesses, adolescents selling stale band candy? I have always been good at disappearing into crowds, families, maybe lovers. The protective coloration of nonentity. I think death will find me, though, breath being the one distinguishing mark that matters. The next one is called Fly Fishing in Montana in Times After War. And this is for my brother Paul. Give me plain sand. Start over.
Wait a minute, let me...
This one is Sisyphus of the Lovelorn. Over and over again, like a wheel, like a wheel, like a wheel. Sometimes you say goodbye, but don't mean it exactly. Sometimes you say, wearing whatever face you're wearing at the time, you are beautiful. Sometimes I say, do you really think so? As if I am in a desert and you are water, the only cactus. Sometimes I say, I know, and flip my hair, hardly caring, put on my high-heeled hiking boots, but it always turns out the same. Our razored breath, our hearts like careful fists. In the secret moonlight, I have been away too long. My father's house is dogless, the only breath our own. In the still rooms, such unexpectancy. I stalk people with dogs. An Irish wolfhound. His name is Robert. He's not a show dog. His feet turn out. An Irish wolfhound with ballerina toes. I like to think of Robert secretly practicing pliés in the secret moonlight, jetés around the credenza, while Harrigan the terrier chews on lizard skin shoes, while the lady in the red coat dreams under faux fur in the secret moonlight. It is my father's last sunset on She Crab Circle, Skidaway Island. We take the Diamond Causeway over Moon River to Savannah. He won't look back. Robert finishes his stately walk, unstalked tonight, carefully tongues his dinner bowl and waits for secret moonlight. His toes tingle. Resume unrepentant or philosophy of 13, no waiting, no blackbirds? Resume unrepentant, it's on the top. Did you never drink too much, smoke too much, kiss someone wildly unsuitable, hitchhike, trespass, ride motorcycles, date bass players, drug runners, ex-cons, chain gangs, allow an Italian restoration expert at the Louvre to ply you with wine after being up all night on the Orient Express talking to Irish terrorists? Did you never swim naked, trailing phosphorus in the night sea? Find a bloody handprint on your doorway on Siesta Key, just a mild stalking? Did you never say to yourself, this could kill me? And do it anyway? And again? And maybe again? Did you never sing, laugh, talk, dress loudly, dance, behave badly, love extravagantly and not well? Get on a train without knowing where it was going, join a revolution, spend your grocery money on an antique silk tablecloth embroidered with bluebirds, or a nag in the sixth named after a French poet? Did you never greet the dawn in last night's party dress, red high heels in hand, pretend you were someone named Loretta or Blaze? Find yourself perched on the twitching shoulders of an acrobatic comedian riding a 5-foot unicycle on a stage, on a cruise ship, in the rolling North Sea? Sometimes it just happens. Eat too much, juices running down your chin, belly tight like a skin drum. Did you never drink too much, smoke too much, kiss someone wildly unsuitable? No? No? Were you knitting?
I'm ready for you.
Oh, baby. Butterfly effect with dog or philosophy of 13?
Philosophy of 13, you read it twice now. You gotta,
Okay. Butterfly effect with dog. Black, and this is, I've always been fascinated with chaos theory and the whole idea that just a flap of a butterfly's wings could, in a cascading set of events, cause tremendous events across the world. Terrible events. Anyway, this is butterfly effect with dog. This is for you, baby. Black dog, sleek in sun, seal shine sleeping on the front step, lazily raises, snaps his jaws, swallows the flutter, saves the hemisphere. Good dog.
David Leff, I'm the New England Beat Poet Laureate. I hail from Collinsville, Connecticut, a little bit downstream on the Farmington River from here. I just want to start out by thanking Deb, because I know under the circumstances with the virus and all the limitations that it imposes, it's really taken a lot of work to pull this off. So let's have a big round of applause for Deb. I mean, she's done an amazing job.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to read 3 poems about what I see as the 3 crises of the moment. They're not very long, so don't worry. Still amounts to less than 3 pages, I promise.
Yeah, we've heard that before.
Yeah. You know, I do write poetry occasionally, but I rarely write occasional poems. But it seems the virus has stirred me to write about it, and I've written a few. And this is about the first day of spring when my beautiful wife Mary and I visited Hammonasset Beach. And the poem is Coronavirus Spring at Hammonasset Beach. First day of spring, we walked the beach under a milky, pearlescent sky, the sea quiescent, chalky white like the underside of an oyster shell. In the distance, water fades to air at a ghostly horizon. Spicy salt and rotting fish scents, wheeling gulls calling shrilly, waves lapping at sand that gives way underfoot and fills my shoes, just like always. Walkers of all ages and complexions dot the shore, but repel like common pole magnets as we approach in these coronavirus days. Solitary children build castles for tides to devour. A couple toss a football, and 2 teen girls laugh while dancing wildly to music only they can hear. Bearded, wearing a ball cap, holding a wooden staff, a man stops and smiles. "Nice day for the world to end," he chuckles. "I won't repent." We fear ice, fire, and thunder, but a last day in billions of years when the sun's corona fades and flares out may be quiet, just like today. Just as when the Twin Towers crashed in flame and dust, we seek solace at the sea from which all life came. In centrifugal times we're drawn to water, seeking something we know not what. The second crisis of the moment is the political crisis, which will come to a crescendo in about 2 months. So I wrote this poem in 2018, but with the same kind of trepidation I fear today. This is called A Moby Dick Moment on Election Day, 2018. Cold and rainy comes the dawn, and I feel a damp, drizzly November as I drive to the polls. Drowsy from restless Moby Dick dreams, I wonder how to make the American novel great again. A fictional whaler sails with Quaker and Polynesian pagan, carries a polyglot country of immigrant outcasts from Africa to China, Iceland to Sicily, India to Portugal, and grows greatly more real than political realities. I pencil my ballot, stuck on a ship of state whose captain chases the white whale of his own celebrity. But my vote is just a bottled message cast on a vast sea of beguiling hope that a nation of ideals can stay afloat. The last one is about what I see as the greatest crisis of our time and the time of my children, if not their children, and that's climate change. And I just worry that the crises of the moment, the 2 I just read about, are distracting us from what's really important. So this is called Broken Rainbow, and it begins with an epigraph from Genesis, the chapter on Noah. And it reads, "And the waters prevailed and increased greatly upon the earth." Broken rainbow. Rhythmic waves are my heartbeat, blood chemistry, pulse of breath, the pungent salt air scented with my own sweat. Moody and restive, like me, the sea rages and storms with fist-pounding breakers, relaxes in serene, flat calm. Enthralled to water's restless grasp for the shore, I recall we arose from the ocean. Now we call it back to us with warming respirations from boilers and engines, morphing crystal lace glaciers to rushing streams. Mountainous icebergs and ice caps of eternal winter dissolve in a saltwater sump. Once frozen worlds now unlocked swell ceaseless tides. An ocean's rush to embrace the land will devour it. Crash over walls, drown jetties, swallow pavement structures, spiky green Spartina marshes and river mouths, make islands of conifer-covered mountains. No rainbow promise can save us. No ark is large enough. The sea eagerly takes us back, reclaims its ancient inland realms as we struggle for a new buoyancy. Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, no, I just had an idea, but I don't want to put too much strain on Debbie, so I guess I'll stand around here. Ya Pedro y vaya to better Pietro. What would you have shouted out on hearing what the devil did to Don Filiberto? But Pedro Pietri, I only have to look at your words of deep love and respect for Boriken and a burning hate for the monster. Ja Pedro, you took up the trail from the loading docks to the tobacco tables, to Alada's flag in Puerto Rico flying from the window in the barrio. With the tracks of Jesus Colon and Julio de Burgos, Bernardo Vega, Erasmo Vando, Arturo Schomburg, Flor Baerga, Sotero Figueroa, William Carlos Williams, Bimbo Rivas, Clemente Soto Velez, Jorge Brandon. Ya Pedro, you were there, rightfully on a passage of genius, all those many years telling about it, our beautiful people and place, ever since, when was it you said, 1898? Ya Pedro, they insult us, they hurt us, they kill us. But you remember on Black Earth and on the Black Pages, that devil will never win us over.
I'm Jack Sheedy, and I'm reading a poem called Bird Song that I wrote on the occasion of my friend Jim Kelleher's birthday last year. His partner Jan emailed me and said, bring a BRD poem. And I thought it meant a bird poem, but she meant birthday poem. So, so I wrote a bird poem, and that's what I brought to the party. It's called Bird Song. I met a farmer with a wheelbarrow, hauling green branches and an oriole's nest from a lightning-toppled pear tree in his orchard. "Where are the tenants of that nest?" I asked. "Long flown," was the old farmer's terse reply. And down the path he trod, his back to me, a crumpled sun hat squashed upon his head, suspenders crisscrossed on his muscled back. "How can you know?" I asked. "The storm was fierce, and have they flown from life or flown away?" The barrow's metal feet chunked to a halt. The farmer gazed into a dying sun. A drop of sweat clung to his chin, then fell. His gray eyes looked straight past me, and he said, "4 months ago, an oriole from Belize migrated here and built this sock-shaped home. He sang all day until he found a mate, but never sang at night." The farmer chuckled. "But then, at dawn, his voice called out again, as though his mistress was dissatisfied, and flew to shriller, more insistent voices. At any rate, it's what I like to think. I like to think it's she who chooses him, who weaves this masterpiece of twigs and twine, hatches the eggs he richens with his lust, catches the insects for the fledgling young." And here the farmer sat upon the ground to tell sad stories of the deaths of things. "You'll know they're gone when they are gone," said he. "You'll feel it in the empty, quiet fields, the ghost of thunder at the close of day, the breeze that slaps you rudely on the cheek. She's gone," he said. "Been gone 2 years or more. I woke one day and called her name. No answer. That's how it is sometimes." A leaf dropped down. The farmer scarcely noticed, sitting quiet. "You think you hear her answering," he said. "It's just a brook that warbles in the eddies, a rabbit rustling in an open field, or it's the skylark, not the nightingale. It sings at dawn, a gritty, throaty trill, and then it's gone, leaving the night still." Thank you.
Okay.
Well, thanks to James, Patty Martin and I have been writing solitary duets daily since April 6th. So that's 152 days. We've written that many poems and we never missed a day. It's my turn to write a second stanza today, and I haven't had time during this party, so I'll get to it when I get back. I'm going to read the very first one that we wrote, and Patty started this one. She wrote the first stanza, I wrote the second, she wrote the third, I wrote the fourth. And I guess I'm going to get into character for each. I'll take my hat off for Patty and keep the hat on for my own voice. What is it about the slant of light through closed blinds when the world is spinning? If not for a long-bodied cat spotlighted there for warmth, would sunlight waste itself on barren ground? Or would it somehow manage to seep into my soul, illuminating the cloistered, lingering fears sequestered in dark corners? The world goes on spinning. The cat stretches to stay in the light, just as I stretch toward your light, stretch into the warmth of your touch. So that's Solitary Duet number 1. Solitary Duet, September 4th, 2020. My coffee table overflows with magazines and books. Newspapers with their turgid prose are piled in the nooks. I'll get around to reading them after I eat my lunch. My cats require feeding them. My schedule's in a crunch. They say my place looks like the old Collier mansion. Maybe I need a new bookcase or a room separating transom. And now another day is here, with still more stuff to read. It's not the greatest atmosphere for my brain to be clear. We are inundated with an overload of information, much of it overrated. So we need to sort, delete, and then take a vacation. Thank you.
Hey.
Okay. All right, most of you don't know me. Those that do know that I'm nuts. My name is Whittle. So I got 3 poems I want to read to you. And I'm the worst, I got to admit it. I dog-ear pages. I use stray pieces of paper to mark my place just so I can find it later. Even worse, I write notes and margins. It's an awful thing that I do. No respect for books whatsoever. I do, however, respect the authors. I write in the book's margin for later reference and recall, sort of a filing system of thought, which would mean to me that the author has done his job in getting me to think. I don't always agree with what they write. I don't have to. I don't like it when a message gets lost in a description, or when the words are thrown at a page hoping that they'll stick. I really hate it when academia makes an attempt to dictate the style of writing for all to follow. I prefer to be my own, I prefer to be my own person and write in my own style, whatever that may be. Academia has taken it for granted that they know better and are by far wiser. That was the title of the poem. This is the poem. I bought the damn book, I'll do whatever the hell I want with it. The title of this one is called The Oasis of Intimacy. There you are, with sweet caresses across my skin, passionate kisses locked together in an ocean of ecstasy. I bloom like a wild rose, and I always wanted you to find my name somewhere between your moans. But please, I beg of you, stop calling me God. Now on a more serious side. This one is called To Be Cut from the Same Cloth Means You'll always and forever feel the missing part. I don't have a name for it, just a lot of empty space on maps where my heart used to be in love at one time or another. Whatever was lost is gone, and I feared this time for good. It doesn't even show up in good or bad dreams. Forgive me for that too. And the only thing I have ever inherited that was worth anything at all was not being able to forget you. Love is in all its varying shapes and sizes, never ends for people like you and me. In that we are one of a kind. I belong to the words. My words are everything. And the land belongs to no one. Borders belong to those who build fences and to those who own nothing in between. But the words are mine, and I intend on keeping them with memories of you in a forest of hard truths and the possibilities of someday. Thank you.
A hike up here on, it's called Grand Overlook. It's in People's Forest. If you've been there, it's an awesome place to see the valley. Native of Earth. I'm Dave Henri, by the way. native of Earth, on top of ridgeline, dwarfed by how this cosmos exhibits as multiple layers of Pleasant Valley, boggled by the existence of existence. These protruding rock ledges have eroded and calcified in my bones. Splendid atmosphere lifting from the forest, deeply filling lung capacity, feeds my mind and muscles. The evaporated sea descends from clouds to be the substantial substance of my cells. Born as this life form of Earth, biological logic attempts justification. The answer is repeated in coded sporadic song notes of a towhee. Wind leaves a sound cacophony of leaves rustling in the memory of the experience. Wind blowing kisses of cool comfort on sweating brow. In a daze of heightened gratitude, the view absorbs the viewer. In the broad mind sight of an organism, the sun, the sky, the planet all converge. The miraculous exuberantly permeates perception. Distinction of separation yields to a momentary gentle melt, accompanied by a satisfying sigh. Thank you. That's the kind of stuff I write, and well, I just can't stop. Open mic night. Nervously, I step out on the soapbox stage. I squint to read the handwritten label on the bottle of verse I brought to the party. Vintage 2020, a robust old vine Zinfandel. Contains notes of hilly vineyard dank earth. Hints of morning dew sparkling on ripe bunches of dark purple grapes, fragrantly hanging on glistening vines. Plucked clusters of words are dumped into a large redwood tub. Good thoughts stomp barefoot in playful, thankful dance. Juicy juice yields the juice, squishing sensations between the toes. Extracted letters funneled onto a plum green bottle dressed in wicker. The magic bubbles as the sweet essence of expression is digested by hungry yeast. I raise a glass of liquid cursive lines. To friends, to health, to the harvest, may this ode bring you a bit of delight. A swirl for opulency, a sniff, a sip taste. I swish the fermented concoction in cheeks. Words of wine drool out the side of my mouth, painting my shirt with a plum-colored watercolor blotch. The warm, seeping, invisible metaphor of poetic alcohol relaxes inhibitions. Apprehension subsides. I bring the bottle to my lips. Right here on stage, I guzzle the vino verse as the poetry people look on in surprise. Stopping for a breath, I wipe my mouth with back of hand, then gulping more, slurping the last syllable. Sorry, I seem to have read the whole bottle. Now I am drunk on homemade poetry. Ha! I'm foolishly inebriated. Behold a bohemian beat old hippie making a scene intoxicated with slurred words of the vine. Then nonchalantly stumbling off stage, taking my seat as if nothing just happened.
Hey!
I'm sorry, what?
Go ahead.
Oh, oh, look what I found. Multiple personality disorder.
I was wondering why I put that.
My name is
Was that a calling card?
Joshua. Okay, so you've all heard this, except for James, and he's not going to hear it either, because he's not here. Okay.
You could wait for him.
I apologize. I told you, a lot of you, I sold my house, and I had been so busy, and I did start, oh my God, she's taping all of this, I forgot. Okay. This is called Silent Night, Holy Night. After the divorce, wait a minute, this is supposed to be a holiday poem. Silent Night, Holy Night, right? Holiday poem? Let me start again. Silent Night, Holy Night. After the divorce, the time came to put the tree into the stand. I had to find the stand. It was in the garage, finally. The trunk of the tree was wide, the stand's circumference not so. Wait, there's a flat saw in the small closet behind the kitchen. I pulled the tree by its trunk up 10 stone steps across the brick courtyard, through the doorway into the living room. The saw's blade too fragile, unable to break through bark. I remember, yes, a chainsaw in the boiler room. I always knew I would use it. An inner nudge that never materialized into fantasy. Now I head straight down the stairs, the saw inaudible on the floor behind an old wicker chair and an electric cord, the color orange, the length of a city block. In the living room, I plug the prong into the socket, place a piece of wood underneath the tree. I am no fool. I'll aim the cutting away. I want everyone to know what happens next, and I can't say it. There is something about being inside the house with the sound of a chainsaw spinning while sweet smell chips and dust start flying all directions, sofa, pictures, table, hitting windows, sawdust settling, comfortable as I am, where I cook, clean, where I eat and read, something about how no one else in the entire county, the northwest corner of my world, this world, knows what the fuck I'm doing, how I'm the only one left to clean up the debris. Thank you. A torrential downpour the night I peed in my tent. I took 2 Ziploc plastic bags together, one inside the other, held them close to my crotch, squatted, and let my urine go. How handy, brilliant. There in the corner, a clear bag filled with hydrogen, potassium, creatinine, uric acid, all these molecular electrolytic parts of me so efficiently filtered through the glomeruli of my own 2 kidneys. I am content with the knowledge how well I am working.
What day would not be complete without a poem about the pathogen in the White House? I call this Inheriting the Idiot Wind. I knew who Donald Trump was in the 1980s and 90s. I'd watch him on Howard Stern periodically, listening to the graphic details of his adulterous escapades. And catalog of sexual appetites convinced me he used and abused women as a matter of course. They were sexual objects to him. His own daughter was a sexual object to him, and he didn't care who knew it. Trump's been executing this routine for 40 years. Jeffrey Epstein followed his lead. Not the other way around. They were partners in sex crimes involving females of all ages. And what I saw was a narcissistic sociopath, no empathy for anyone else, no compassion for anyone else, no morals, no principles, all me, I. And there was no mystery about who this guy was. It was only a mystery to those who didn't care to see. The evangelical pastors who support Trump say, God has forgiven him for his past sins. Wrong. It's Jesus who does the forgiving. God is not a forgive and forget kind of guy. Check the Bible again. It's full of examples of fire and brimstone raining down on transgressors of God's rule of law. Yet, in 2016, nearly 63 million white people voted for him for president. About these people, I can only say there are 3 possibilities. Trump voters are either incredibly naive, incredibly ignorant, or positively immoral. I wonder if they did this on purpose, by accident, or by design. In any case, it's not justifiable, it's not forgivable, it's not redeemable. It's a game changer. in how I look at the world and all the people in it. Henceforth, it changes everything. Whatever happens from now on, chuck it off to the legacy of stupid white America. I have one more I'd like to read. I had a stroke about 2.5 years ago, and this is a vision that I have. I wrote down a vision that I have during the 2.5 days that I was incommunicado. I was someplace else. I call it a near-death experience, but I don't know where the hell I was. Bringing chapter 3 to a close brings Moses to mind, as he stood on the slopes of Sinai with the tablet of the red Ten Commandments raised over his head, ready to hurl them into the golden calf fashioned by his brother Aaron. Did he think, why has it come to this? Will it end our journey to the promised land? Worshipping idols yields 2 generations lost, with the 40 years of wandering the desert of soul, brought on by the selfishness for monetary bliss. 2 generations must pass before the harvest of souls. The Exodus analogy springs to mind of the Woodstock generation. Has the same fate befallen them? At the 50-year anniversary of the gathering of the tribes, can we get back to the garden, or is that path closed? Only time will tell. But I know one thing for certain. As long as we live by the credo, money talks and bullshit walks, nothing will ever be right with the world again.
I wonder how good she is. We're sitting in the park talking, and she thought she was losing her job. She was asking, what am I going to do? Her life view boiled down to this: 2 options. I'm only good at sucking cock and shoveling shit. She kept saying this over and over and over again. I'm only good at sucking cock and shoveling shit. After a while, I was wondering how good she was at shoveling shit, because I hate shoveling shit. A teachable moment. I walked into a cafe and they said, we don't serve people like you. And I thought, okay, this is going to be a teachable moment. I wasn't planning on going to the hospital. I had some other plans. I was told they don't like my kind. I have thought, I'm being very kind, when I picked up the table and thought about throwing it through the front window. But then I thought that would be a drag for those sitting at the window. So instead, I threw it at the guy coming at me with the baseball bat. Defending myself seemed to enrage them even more. I had heard their coffee sucked. I had thought sucky coffee was better than no coffee at all. This turned out to be a teachable moment. Now I have a different perspective. It's okay not to get coffee. And my last one is Mother Truckers. On this Mother's Day, I'd like to call out the Mother Truckers. They know who they are. They give mothers who drive trucks a bad name. Mother Truckers will drive right over you. Mothers who drive trucks deliver comfort and safety. Mother Truckers believe they're the only ones who count, where mothers who drive trucks have everyone pile in. Mother Truckers seem to have a death wish, for they never seem to stop unless they are stopped for good. Mothers who drive trucks bring everybody together, make sure everyone is heard, and the ones who aren't Mother Truckers will help and take care of everyone. So if you're out on the road, a tip of the hat when you see a mother driving a truck. But watch out for the Mother Truckers. It's good. Speak up loud.
You're going to keep your mask on?
Yep.
I took mine off. We're honoring Carlos Raul Dufflar, and he is becoming the New York City Beat Poet Laureate. And I'm very proud to have him be part of the National Beat Poetry Foundation. Very proud. Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Speech.
Thank everybody.
Okay. I'm going to move out. Wait a minute. I can film if you want me to. Paul?
I got it.
Here.
A haven for artists. Imagine a moment a poet, a musician and artist will drop by slugs and sit down and relax and listen to sunrise, orchestra, bearing the point of a bebop rhythm of strange strings, flowers that flow into your very verses, gives you a place beyond your dreams. The sun casts the light into your soul. Remember the old beat poets of Sunrise. He was also a poet too. Of Ted Jones, of Allen Ginsberg, of Mary Baraka, Jane Cortez, Pedro Petri, an old friend that died so young at the age of 59. It was so sad. Carlos Troche, Sineng, she also was an old beat poet that went around the world, and she passed away so young of cancer. Whew, scared me. Pedro Santariga, playwright and a poet, and a beautiful poet that wrote in English but in Spanish, his classical Spanish. Hablaba de morirte. Countless names of unknown names, funky rhythms of beat poetry, reciting a golden age, a voice that reached its height of yesterday and today. And in every corner, in every space, I would sit down and drink from cafecito and rejoice at that moment that I remember upright, that we were fearless and frank. Sunlight opened the mind, and the space is a place. That the universe is larger than the narrow-mindedness of the people on earth. And let us rejoice and dance, and let us honor Mother Earth, so that the children will inherit the sunshine. Thank you very much.